My, whoa. My hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin is considered, all right, it's considered by a lot of people to be America's most racially segregated city, to the point that when I was in high school in the early 80s, there was a program where black kids were put on buses from Milwaukee's desperately poor inner city and sent to my suburban high school. They scared the crap out of me. None of them, however, more so than Charisse Dow. She was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen and stood about 4 inches taller than me. She terrified me. But then again, almost everyone in my high school frightened me. I was a constant ball of anxiety, and like a lot of people, my anxiety all went straight to my stomach. Luckily for me, this all came to a head generally during my 4th period math class, and my teacher was a very sympathetic old guy, this old guy named Mr. Huxtable. So I could walk up to him at the end of class with about 10 minutes remaining and go, Mr. Huxtable, I've got diarrhea, can I? And he'd be like, oh yeah, go ahead. And I knew that at the far end of C Wing, there was a bathroom that was always deserted at that time of the day, so I could sneak down there to do my embarrassing, noisy, malodorous business in safety and privacy. So one day I was doing just that, and I had just let go of my first major salvo. And what I didn't realize is that this bathroom had also been designated by a bunch of these inner city black kids as their between class hangout spot. And I guess on this one particular day, I had misjudged the timing, because just as I let go, the bell went off and 6 or 7 of these guys banged noisily into the bathroom. Now, the thing is, I have a lot of anxiety, but most of it is anticipatory anxiety. And once I'm in a situation that actually frightens me, I tend to calm right down. So I remember thinking, well, this is how I die. I die in this bathroom, so I might as well finish and die in comfort. So I finish what I'm doing, and these kids get one whiff of the air and start yelling, oh, yo, word! And they don't go anywhere. They just hang around. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life in this bathroom. So I walk out of the stall and I walk up to the sink and I start washing my hands. And these kids gather around me and they start yelling this thing. They start yelling, yo, you just laid a nasty squirt. You just laid a nasty squirt. Yo, and I go, what? I did what? And one of them steps forward and goes, yo, you just laid a nasty squirt. So I look at him and I go, well, all right, I don't know about you, but I had leftover Chinese food for lunch. And these kids start jumping around and high-fiving me and slapping me on the back. Actually congratulating me for doing something that they could all relate to, something kind of deeply human, something that the kids who were supposed to be my peers would have excoriated me for publicly and humiliated me for months, maybe years. So I walked out of that bathroom with the germ of a new idea in my head. A few weeks later, I'm sitting in study hall. And so I walked up to Mr. Gower, who is the old dude who is in charge of study hall, and I said, can I have a hall pass? I want to go to the library to work on my science report. And then I hear just over my left shoulder, yeah, I need a hall pass. I need to work on my science report too. And Charisse Dow is standing right next to me. And I kind of panic a little. So Mr. Gower looks up at her with a look that really confused me at the time, but years later I would come to understand. But he filled out both hall passes and handed them to me. So now I'm walking down the hall with Charisse Dow. And I don't know, something came over me and I did something really out of character. I spoke. So I said, "So, what's your science report about?" And she stops in her tracks, wheels around to face me and says, "What?" "Well, your science report. You said you were, going to work on your science report." So she looks down at me and says, "So that was what we call a lie." And so, again, I don't know what came over me, but I looked up at her, and in my best serious white guy suburban voice said, "Yes, I'm familiar with the process." And her brow furrows for a moment in this look of disdain, which suddenly breaks into the most beautiful smile I had ever seen, which quickly dissolved into this sort of chagrined smirk that said very clearly, "You're cute, little man, but it ain't gonna happen." And she wheeled around and walked out of my life forever. I sure do wonder where she is today. Thank you.